Greetings and salutations, Dota fans, for the third and final time here in our East Division, and for the fifth and final time on the 24 hours preceding us. A lot of action here on Season 4 of the D2L, brought to you by Kingston HyperX, winding things out with our final series of the night. Going to be TongFu taking on Rising Stars. TongFu going to be completing their entire Eastern Division schedule with this series. Rising Stars still has a couple of series left, but for the most part, these teams kind of have their fate sealed. TongFu can still complicate things with the win here, but still, even then, kind of up in the air. Rising Stars, though, unfortunately, all but mathematically eliminated from playoff contention as we burst through the next to last week here of Eastern Division play, but still playing for pride and taking on a hell of a talented TongFu team. I'm your host, Aaron A.C. Chambers. Welcome in once again if you're just tuning in for the first time today. If you've been with us all day, you know it's been a hell of a fun day at Dota here on the D2L. Ben Merlini Wu will be joining me once again, and don't forget, we're only going to have a few hours of downtime. We're actually going to be back to resume Western Division play starting at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow. So look forward to that. Make sure you mark that out. Go ahead and set out your cereal. Keep the milk ready. You know, have your bowl and your little spoon ready for your morning Dota starting tomorrow. For now, though, again, a very fun series on the way. TongFu taking on Rising Stars. Let's take a look at how these two teams match up against each other. TongFu and Rising Stars, I mean, their performance in the D2L so far has been a little up and down. Leading things off with TongFu. They're sitting at 2-4 right now. Again, only one last match here, and that's what they're going to be playing now. They're currently in 5th place. They actually started out with a 2-1 record, if I'm not mistaken, and then have dropped a lot of series after that. They're led by Zoe from the carry position, XTT in the offlane, Mu in mid, ZSMJ, who is the reformed and former carry player who is now really beginning to shine in that support jungle position, while Songsheng continues to play well from time to time, play badly from time to time, but all in all, a still fairly solid hard support player. Now, again, sitting at 2-4, a win will obviously move them up to 3-4 and put them in the 3-win club, because after TongFu, everyone is basically in that, separated out into the haves and the have-nots, as we're going to see as we take a look at Rising Stars now. Now, Rising Stars definitely has a team composition that lives up to their namesake. Unfortunately, despite how talented a team this actually is, they're still underperforming pretty much across the board. 0-5 in their last in all 5 matches here in Season 4 of the D2L in the Eastern Division. They're led by XDD, the hard support with King J in the offlane, CTY in mid, QQQ, the support jungler, and of course Sylar, probably the most famous name on the entire squad, holding down the carry position. Now again, they have a lot of talent on this squad. At 0-5, certainly not going to have any chance to make any noise to try and make a run at the playoffs, but still with a couple of chances here against TongFu and then their last remaining match coming up next weekend to just continue to develop as a team. They've matched up against TongFu twice in the last 2 months in the Ace Dota 2 League. Unfortunately for them, they've come out on the bad end of that twice in a row as well, 0-2, and that's certainly a result that TongFu is going to be looking to try to repeat. So getting ready to move in to game 1 of our last best of 3 of the night. Rising Stars taking on TongFu. Again, I'm AC, joined by Merlini. Thanks again for everyone who has been with us all day throughout this broadcast. Can't wait to put a bow on it and put this day to bed, and of course bounce back tomorrow with more Western Division play. For now, TongFu, Rising Stars, game 1 coming up. Stick with us. We'll be right back. And here we go. Game number 1, the draft well underway. A lot of familiar faces. TongFu actually showing us an Alchemist pick, and we've seen them run him post 6.79, probably more than any other team in the East. Rising Stars, though, grabbing up the Luna and the Crystal Maiden with their first couple of picks. Rubik going to round out their front three as TongFu pairs the Viper with the Chained Beast known as Alchemist, waiting to see what their third pick's going to be, and it will be a Shadow Demon to break down the draft, and of course, Linda's insight and analysis, as he does with every game here in the D2L. Welcome in once again, Ben Merlini-Woon. Ben, I'll tell you what, man, it's been a long 24 hours, and it's not quite done. I did the math and actually tweeted it out during our break before this series. Once we get our two West Division series played out tomorrow, me, you, and Conrad, our producer, will have done 10 best of threes in 36 hours. That's kind of insane.
Softcore.
Kind of insane.
Softcore.
Softcore. It's
Softcore.
It's easy peasy. We knocked that. We knocked it out, no problem. But welcome in once again.
TI3 was like ridiculous. It was like 12, 13 hours in a row, man.
DreamHack Summer took the cake. DreamHack Summer was we had
so this is easy peasy.
Exactly. 17-hour broadcast after a 12-hour flight across the ocean. So that was and I lost my luggage. That was fun. Much love to the DreamHack folks, and also
please, you don't need clothes to cast.
yeah, that's what they tell me. Just booze and cigarettes, right? Anyway, welcome back in, and I'll let you break down the lineup, man. I am chugging some Monster Energy to power through. We're gonna put our head down and pull the George Mike or the Michael Bluth approach. We're gonna power through our last series here today.
Looking at TongFu, more of a player thing rather than a hero comp. I'm just going to go through that really fast. Zoe, the most recent addition to this team, I believe, and he doesn't just seem to mesh as well with their team. And we've seen a lot of carries rotate around. We've seen Siler move around. We've seen Miracle out, Miracle in, 2-2 out. So a lot of these teams seem to be moving around their carry, and it definitely shows. Black for LGD International, and it's just a recurring theme that the one role is actually really, really important to their teams, almost as important as the support roles. And especially when they pick a fighter like Alchemist, sometimes you just really need your one role to come and fight. So I think Alchemist is the right hero. I'm just not sure if Zoe is actually going to contribute to his team or AFK farm. But when I remember one game in D2L where he just AFK farmed and absolutely trucked other teams. So sometimes we see them AFK farm like Potom, Light of Heaven just didn't do anything, right? So it really depends on it's a lot of burden is on Zoe's shoulders. In terms of draft, everything's pretty standard. Viper has been rising up in the ranks from 3rd to 4th, sometimes 5th. Now he is 2nd pick on the side of TongFu. Shadow Demon, we've seen a couple times too. Resurgence of him, pretty good versus Priestess of the Moon, and just good with Priestess of the Moon too. So it's just good setup, good defensive. I'm surprised he kind of dropped out of favor, but we're seeing a lot of 6.78 picks back in the mix with Shadow Demon, with Alchemist, with Magnus, and I like the way that things are still shaking up. Old Alchemist style. Shake up that brew.
Yeah, I very much agree. And Mag's a hero I feel like has been due a return for quite some time. And with the way the laning phase is just much more volatile, Mag really does fit in quite well to 6.79, I do believe. I mean, he still has his same limitations, still really relying on bottle crowing. And that was really what knocked him out of the meta for the biggest part, was just the nerf to bottle crowing and making it much more difficult for him to sustain reliably in that mid-lane position he seemed to demand. But now with 2-1-2s being a bit more common, the threat of roaming being quite huge no matter what composition you draft, having a skewer to get you out of trouble, even with the bottle crowing nerf being there, people are just beginning to rediscover just how good Magnus can be. And now we're going to see Rising Stars finish.
Have you seen TTY's Magnus, though?
It seems like I have. I to be honest, it's one of those things, the games kind of start to run together. We haven't seen him. Have we seen him play Mag in the East?
I don't think so. He's really just like hit or miss. He had an astounding Viper the other day, and then his Windrunner was just like meh at best. And CTY, like you like to say, feast or famine kind of hero, and that really is CTY. He sometimes dominates his lane, but then just like dies like 5 times in a row, and then he's out of the game. Or sometimes he's Viper, doesn't die, and just completely is impossible to kill. So I don't know what kind of play we're going to see out of CTY. Their lineup is a little strange because they're going with a Luna carry, and Magnus Empower, it's like nice, but it doesn't cleave. Juggernaut, if he spins, no Empower cleave there. Mostly you take like Spectre or Alchemist or Anti-Mage. Those are probably the 3 most common carries when you do run a Magnus. So a little bit strange, but I get running 6.79 stuff. I can't complain.
Very much agreed. And TongFu is going to go ahead and round out their lineup with the Lena, and something I was going to mention that we're beginning to see come back into vogue. I mean, it never really went out entirely, but we're starting to see more teams, East and West, be willing to do this, is run multi-core lineups. I mean, it's one thing to have your hard carry than obviously a farmer on the mid position or maybe an off-laner who wants a little bit of gold. But, like, take a look at Rising Stars. Luna, Mag to a certain extent, and Juggernaut. Those are three heroes that a Mag doesn't need, obviously, late-game items, but he definitely wants a quick Arcane Blink. He definitely wants some farm priority early. And, of course, Luna and Juggernaut do want farm for different reasons. TongFu even more so. Alchemist, no matter where they run him, him plus the Viper, as well as the Nature's Prophet. Again, that's a three-core kind of a lineup with three heroes. The Prophet in particular, who really needs some gold and really needs not just one, but two or three items to really come into his own. Viper kind of the same way. I mean, he can rely on his passives and so on to keep him survivable and keep him alive for a little while. But the Luna, again, a hero who demands a lot of farm, does need a couple of core items to really come into her own. Zoe, who will be farming the Alchemist, very much in the same boat. Alc can do a bit, but especially since his nerf at 6.79, not as innately survivable at level 6, still needs items to really be able to come to fights. The risk they're going to run for TongFu, is if they just end up being spread a little bit too thin in terms of gold gain. Rising Stars with the 2 cores, may arguably 3, but more than anything, they're going to have some serious push power. Magnus gives you a great push, the ability, the range, and the ability once he gets a blink up to take fights behind the enemy tower with reverse polarity. Juggernaut's healing ward, we saw just how devastating that could be.
TongFu's going to scout out. This is really important information for them. They need to know where Rising Stars is going with their triple lane.
Mm-hmm. Spawning out the Rubik with the tree and
there's a smoke. We might see some early action.
ZSMJ, Sansheng, and Zoe. Moving up, we see ZSMJ is skilled as Light Strike Array.
QQQ.
Worst hero that could happen to. There's the Light Strike Array, and the first blood goes the way of Zoe following the unstable concoction. Was actually going to point that out, that the one thing that TongFu has that it will allow them to free up the space they need to get all 3 of those cores of the gold they want is just how devastating the roaming potential of Sansheng and ZSMJ can be in conjunction with pretty much any other hero on the map. And we just got a first-hand look at that right now.
And the odds for this, 80-20 in favor of TongFu. I don't actually think it should be skewed that badly. TongFu did recently 2-0 Rising Stars, but Rising Stars actually gave Vici a good run for their money.
They did.
I think, Rising Stars lost 1-2, but taking a game off Vici, even DK couldn't do that. So I think the odds are maybe like 65-35 in favor of TongFu. So my rares are actually on Rising Stars this game, but I will try to stick with no bias. Sansheng has a disruption. Looks like it may be a second death for QQQ. QQQ has actually been caught out of position like so often in the recent couple of matches.
Light Strike Array right on the money. There's the Unstable Concoction XDD. Will make it 2 in a row going the way of TongFu. And I'll tell you what, this tri-lane is just going to eat Rising Stars alive. Luna, with the right kind of supports, can be a very aggressive early farmer, but given how aggressive TongFu's lineup can be and just how squishy Rising Stars is with QQQ on the Crystal Maiden and Rubik, this is not going to be a fun time for her. She's going to have to really, really prioritize farm and stay safe from here on out. They cannot afford to feed this Alchemist another kill.
Rising Stars has just got off on the wrong foot, though. They have an observer ward on bottom, like whoop-de-doo, they don't know where their tri-lane is, and that really comes in with the level 1 scout from the Nature's Prophet. They were able to smoke after that and pick off an early kill, but Rising Stars doesn't even have a ward on top rune. They weren't able to scout out the invis, and that's 2 deaths. Kind of, first death, maybe you can't avoid since it's a smoking, but QQQ, what are you doing over here by your lonesome? Like, he just like walked over here, dude. Maybe if he's standing up the hill, he can see a smoke pop and then run away while he's uphill from the cover of fog, but his positioning is very, very lackluster. Sansheng about to get picked off himself.
Yep, Sansheng disrupts himself. They're going to try to reinitiate, and just look at the offensive potential. Looks like the Luna's going to try to pursue Sansheng, and there's going to be a big unstable concoction near max stun, getting QQQ, and they weren't even able to. Oh, they finally did track down Sansheng. He's going to die to the tower. Oh no, the salve just enough and going to eat up the tree.
I think he should just suicide in neutrals, but looks like they're already trying to cover his tracks.
Yep, here we go. Zoe trying to track him down.
He doesn't have any mana.
Oh,
it's going to be a wild goose chase unless he eats a tree and juice. Oh, miracle. Okay.
Oh, the Dragon Slave came very close.
That was a very nice play by Miracle right there. I think he's like kind of the standout player for Rising Stars. If you saw him yesterday on on the Morphling, he just played like an absolute monster. But 4-1 in favor of the TongFu. This game is not going well for Rising Stars. Their tri lane is just not being effective at all. If Shadow Demon didn't have boots there, that wouldn't have happened for Miracle. So just like one bad thing leads to another. First blood, he gets boots, then they don't have vision, and then they get an invis, and then other person gets boots, and it's just a slippery slope from there.
Couldn't agree with you more. And fun little play. It leaves me grinning, seeing a nice juke like that off the Tango.
That was a very nice juke, though.
Yep. And even the play from ZSMJ, throwing out the Dragon Slave, came within, probably 25, 30
It hit him.
Yeah.
It was he's level 3, though. Like, what in the world? This is a offensive triple lane, Lina, who's level 3.5 minutes into the game.
And 2.5 on the Shadow Demon as well. And Zoe's actually farming up fairly well, sitting at 11 CS, doubling up that of the Luna. And I don't even know if they can afford to come forward again. I mean, just level 2.5 on the Luna, level 1 on Crystal Maiden. Rubik's close to level 3, but really, if there's any hero you really, in that tri lane, you want a little over-leveled, it's the Crystal Maiden, just because of how potent she is, levels 1 through 5. That's just not the case. And now with TongFu able to control the creep equilibrium this well, they're going to have a real hard time finding anything without taking major risks.
Yeah, Mu is actually doing not as well as I expected him to versus CTY. CTY actually on top of the CS charts, 23-3. King J doing okay in bottom, 19-0 versus 22-2 from XTT. He probably should have his face boots pretty soon. Looks like a regen will go for CTY, so that should probably secure at least a victory for his lane, or just not losing his lane. Juggernaut, once he gets his phase boots, can he really kill XCT? No, XCT actually went a very smart build with the early phase boots, and you want to go this build versus a lifestealer versus a hero like Juggernaut who just needs to stay on top of you constantly. For the top lane, the only thing going well for them is that Zoe is not monstrously farmed because he can't get Grievo's Greed, but he already has phase boots and 500 gold, so it's not like he's underfarmed.
I really like the way Zoe's building now. He's level 4.5, give or take. He has not put a single point into Grievo's Greed. And just really in good shape to take fights throughout this entire early laning phase. CTY, probably the big standout hope at this point for Rising Stars, with Nature's Prophet doing such a good job out of the jungle, or not even out of the jungle, out of lane, out of this one-on-one versus King J. He's going to be able to make himself feel relevant very soon. And look at this, TongFu already up under the towers, playing so confident. We're going to hear the Prophet TP in. And looks like, nope, he's going to come into the north, and he thought better of that one, too. So,
if they do that, I think they can just totally dive him. One unstable concoction means a dead hero.
Yep, guaranteed. One well-placed Sprout can mean 2.
Yeah, and QQQ is off in the jungle right now. I don't think they know that, but they can just check her levels, and if she's outpacing the Rubik heavily, then they can guesstimate. CTY, I don't think the problem is whether or not he can farm Arcane, and Blink is the problem whether he can actually execute once he gets his items. And we've seen like good mags, we've seen bag mags, S4, one of the best mags. He really needs to play like an S4 style mag if he wants to mitigate the damage done to his Luna. Miracle is pretty good at catching up and farming though, so I wouldn't count him out of the game even though he has had a very poor start.
Couldn't agree with you more. And, you know, if there's anything, wow,
Juggernaut him. Wow. He didn't even use Omni Slash. Like, what in the world? Like, if he spins on you, you just TP out. Because that's just a big mistake by XCT. I have no idea how he died. That's not something that you expect at all.
Yeah, completely agree. That should not happen, basically, not as a Nature's Prophet. And Prophet, I was going to say, he even had his phase up already. So really no idea how he managed to allow that to happen.
As soon as I saw the phase, I'm like, okay, my eyes are off that lane because there shouldn't be a death either way. If he Omni Slashes, you summon Treants. If he doesn't Omni Slash, you TP out. It's pretty simple.
XTT throws the ward down after TPing top. Looks like they're going to try to take a dive. Songxing will be the one leading off. There's the acid spray. XTD going to be caught out behind the tower.
Miracle has a TP out, so if he just TPs out, I think it's...
Nope, they're going to try to fight this. They're going to get XTD for free. Here's CTY. He is level 7, so he has an RP if he wants to spend it. But all he's done, really, all he's accomplished now is just freeing up the lane for Mu. Mu might even decide to rotate top.
They can't get the tower that easily, too, though. But, I mean, they can. If they go in with unstable concoction, they are so boned. They just need vision of them. So they have finally killed the Treants. But CTY being here just means shockwave spam, means they don't get the tower. So it's not like the worst rotation. They're just not going to be able to get kills until their supports come in.
We're going to see Mu skewered back. No help
CTY
coming.
needs a TP.
Here's another
TP. Struck him right there. He's dead.
Another TP coming in. That's going to be King J. We're going to see Mu caught out. There's the Blade Fury. He has Omni Slash. No, he doesn't have the mana for it. There's going to be the Unstable Concoction Disruption to disjoint things. CTY will end up dropping ZSMJ. Drops to King J. on the back of the fight. Here's XTT with Viper able to secure another kill. That's going to make it a 3-for-1 so far. XTD trying to make a run for it. But
really nice stun by the Lina, though. He got the Luna and the mag right before he got RP off. So just that spell change.
They might get 5 here. XDD spotted out. Zoe doesn't have enough for an unstable concoction, but Viper's right there with him. And with that slow, they're going to force a TP in, but they've got 3. They're going to be able to bring him down. Mag throws out a shockwave, still not enough to get the damage done. The respawn timers are so short that we didn't get to see them all down at once, but by the time all was said and done, they killed all 5 on the side of Rising Stars.
5,000 gold lead, 8 minutes in. That is just ugly.
Without a tower, well, with 1 tower down. And just look at that, how sharp a dip up.
And that was, I mean, Rising Stars actually, like, I'd say 2 out of 3 lanes. Like, King J got a solo kill on the Nature's Prophet on bottom, and CTY did very well in mid. His CS is still way higher than Moose, but their trialing just lost so incredibly hard that it just spilled over into the whole entire game. And the mid game is going to be very, very rough unless CTY pulls that RP. He hasn't even casted yet this game. He's been level 6 for a while now, and they need to set things up with that. But I mean, what do they really have to follow it up? Luna's not even level 6 yet. Maybe once she gets Eclipse or anything other than Brown Boots, she can start doing some damage during that.
I don't think TongFu is going to be slowing down anytime soon. Zoe's already level 6 and has yet to place a single. Yep, he's yet to place a single point in the Grievous Greed. He is built to do nothing but fight. Hooking up now in mids, the SMJ actually has himself a double damage rune. And just look how quickly they're able to take these towers. This is just an utter rout that's going on right now. And Rising Stars simply doesn't have the personnel or the punching power.
They're split pushing bottom, though.
Yeah. CTY going to skewer back, trying to get away. Unstable Concoction tracks him down. XTT and a Dragon Slave enough to get another kill in Laguna Blade. Sister to sister blows up the Crystal Main. XDD gonna be dove past his own tier 3. Zoe with the Unstable Concoction will toss it out. That's another killing spree.
They're diving to T3s less than 10 minutes into the game.
Yep, and King J comes out, but just look how little damage he's doing. They don't care. Moo has Mechanism up already. Prophet's ready to TP back in and will go ahead and arrive. He'll have the Treants ready to tank the tower. XTT level 9, max Nature's Call. I don't know what they can possibly do right now.
I immediately regret my decision putting my rears. Oh my goodness, this is so ugly. TongFu just completely decimating them in this early game. 3 towers down in 10 minutes. This is going to be like a 10,000 gold lead in 10 minutes time. Miracle's trying to catch up. He has his Midas, but are they going to last long enough for him to actually be able to use it like 10 times? I don't know. I don't think so.
That's comical to me. Oh, Midas. Oh, that item. How I have mixed feelings about you in many situations. But in this case, honestly, it's so bad. They're being beaten so soundly that I honestly don't mind it nearly as much as I did that Midas on that Slarder that made so little sense earlier tonight.
Midas it quickly. Use your Midas. There you go. Okay, so now he's level 7. They have Eclipse. They need a Blink Dagger on Magnus if they want to stall this game out at all. Oh, look. They're going for an aggressive play here. Going on XTT. King J coming around from behind.
Yep. Gotta try to pick up.
He misses the Cell Sprout.
They might track him down, and they will. But at the same time, Zoe...
Big bad Zoe coming in.
Yep, there you go. King J gonna eat an Unstable Concoction right in the mouth. No follow-up, at least not for the moment. They got the tier 1 bottom, and just like that, every outer tier tower but 2 taken off the map by TongFu.
It's about to be just 1.
And
that
yeah,
bottom tower just getting decimated.
Yep, Moo and ZSMJ doing absolute work here in this bottom lane, and yeah, they're not even going to try to respond to this. I mean, they'll send CTY. What's he going to do? RP, Shockwave, then run away? He might get a deny, maybe. Nope, not even going to be that. And that's down to 1 outer tier tower. 12 minutes in, and 4 towers are down. 5 towers are down. Check that.
Yep, gold lead 12,000 in 12 minutes. Pretty good.
It's all right.
No Midases, no Grievel's Greed. Oh, actually, 1 point in Grievel's Greed now, so you don't need those to have that huge gold lead.
Nice Eclipse. Not even enough to save him. And now they're going to turn it around. There's the Sprout. Here comes King J and a Disrupt to buy him time. The Omni Slash will still catch him, most certainly. So they do get a return kill. In the meantime, XTT heads out. QQQ going to pay the price, though. King J going to be cleaned up from the low ground by Moo. Excuse me.
TP scroll.
Yep. Drops the healing ward, but don't think it's going to matter. XTT ensures that it won't matter. There's going to be a Sprout. And see you back at the well. They've got a creep wave heading that way, too. So this is going to be that last tower. I would not be shocked if they called GG right now. I really wouldn't.
They can turtle off the T3. They won't call GG yet. Just judging by their games yesterday and judging with the turtle power of the Magnus. Like, we haven't seen an RP yet. And if they fail with an RP, like if they get like a 4-man RP and they skewer and they still fail to kill them, that's like instant GG right there, because it's not going to get any better than that. But with Blink online for CTY, it's not, all is not lost yet. Surprisingly.
They're going to
yeah.
They're going to try to push through, at least to try and force some kind of reaction. So, right up to the high ground. And eating a little bit of damage. Their XDD manages to steal Acid Spray. Good one for him to steal. That's going to force the Glyph at the very least. That'll probably be enough to force this to back off. But getting the Glyph on cooldown, still not too bad a deal.
Yeah, not bad for them at all. And their towers are like very close to Zhang's T1 on bottom. Not the T1 in mid, just the T1 on bottom right now. So now that they have Blink Dagger on wow, they have a Blink Dagger on Shadow Demon. Shadow Demon has equal farm to Magnus right now, and Magnus is on top of the CS chart. That's how much that Tower Gold is making. That's how much of a difference that Tower Gold is making.
Shadow Demon is more farmed than Luna. Just want to throw that out there.
But he has minus.
Oh yeah. But down at bottom. Yeah, Miracle cleaned up. This is just one that just so completely got away from Rising Stars. I mean, and it just all began and ended with that tri-lane. The offensive potential from the Alchemist, the Lina, and the Shadow Demon, just something that they could not cope with. They just didn't have the firepower to deal with it 3-on-3. And from there, TongFu has just dominated the entire rest of the game. And when I say rest of the game, we're still at 14 minutes in. Usually right about now, the laning phase is still halfway together, and we're still talking about CS totals. At this point, you're talking about tier 3s being cracked.
Yeah, this is just brutal. Man, Roshan got a drop. So, talking about the gold lane again, after Roshan beat 15,000 in 15 minutes, so they're keeping right on par with that 1,000 GPM a minute. Juggernaut has his drums, they have the Blink Dagger on Magnus, but still we have seen absolutely zero RPs from CTY, and it's not a problem whether he can farm Arcane and Blink. 15 minutes is a pretty good timing when you're getting destroyed, but still, can he actually execute? Can he pull off any sort of RP? Not even a big RP, just an RP.
Zoe's inventory is interesting. Looks like he went to a yard sale with a $20 bill. And just came away with a bunch of stuff. He's got a Vanguard, a phase boots.
I don't think they know that the CTY has a whatchamacallit. Like
Blink.
they're setting up for like a 3-man RP right now. Possibly 4 if ZSMJ comes out. This is actually very dangerous for them. They don't have Glyph up right now.
We can see that regen on Zoe kicking in right there. And unwilling to commit to the RP so far. Push power still a little bit slower than they'd like, just because no right-click items have really been built by anyone.
He needs to go in. Like, what are they waiting for? Are they waiting for them to take down the racks before it happens? Like, what is going on here?
Well, they managed to take down the tier 3 without a whole lot of muss or fuss. Mag sitting off near the side. And, right, I don't know that he's confident he could get Zoe and Moo. He's wants one, but he obviously wants more than a 1-man RP. And don't know that he feels confident in that. The Rax is already banged down to about 3/4. Here we go. There's going to be the telekinesis. There's a skewer that will catch Zoe. No RP, though. There's a disruption to buy some time, and now that should be enough, and it is, for Zoe to get away via the Force Staff. Now they're going to catch King J out. He's down. Beautiful Light Strike Array. Laguna Coil, or Laguna Blade, excuse me, to follow that up.
That should be GG, though. Even if he gets like 5-man RP, right now they have absolutely no damage barrel through. And we have Necro 3 already up on XTT. 16 minutes, Midas phase Necro 3 with an early death. With 2 early deaths, actually. So, I mean... Rising Stars, he just has to go for the RP. Like, if you don't RP, you're just going to lose your Rex. And why would, like, they're waiting to fight another day, but, like, why would you defend this T3 when one Rex is already down? Why not just go for the first one? So, TTY, I've never been a fan of his decision-making skills, and this is why. He's 0-2-0 on Mag. He is probably the most farmed hero on the side of Rising Stars. He has a chance to turn this game around, but he's just scared or unconfident or just not skilled enough to even pull off a 3-man RP or even a 2-man RP. Like, just any RP. Come on, he has RP.
The goal graph, or not, the net worth chart right now is something I've only seen once or twice in my entire career as a caster for Dota 2. Completely sorted top to bottom. Everyone on the side of TongFu is more farmed than the highest net worth on the side of Rising Stars. The Shadow Demon is worth more in terms of pure net worth than the Magnus is, who is in who has the most gold of anyone on the side of RS. You just don't see that in Pro Dota very often. This is, like I said, second or third time at most. And Zoe has completed his S and Y. Racks down. Again, I'm a little shocked that Rising Stars hasn't just called this.
I mean, I guess they're still banking on the fact that he's going to hit a big RP or a big skewer, but he RP'd into a disrupt.
Yep.
And the guy just blinks out. Like, that's the only RP we've seen from CTY.
That's a big play. Big play from San Sheng. And poor CTY has been struggling in the Western Division. You got to call it what it is. Moo's going to get another kill. XDD will be sprouted. And nope, we'll make it away. There's San Sheng blinking in. Yep, GG comes out.
So go back to the drawing board, draft a better triple lane, QQQ, don't get caught out, CTY, play a hero that you can actually play. That's about it for me.
Yep. I'll tell you, CTY he's one of those guys that I'm beginning to root for, not because he's the underdog or anything. It looks like somebody blew up the wrong Ancient. We'll have to talk to Valve, of course, to get that corrected. Everyone's a little bit tired and using the console codes to blow the Ancient, so on and so forth. Obviously, a little bit of a mistake. It's been a long day for all of us, but, well, man, I'll tell you, it's not the shortest game we've seen today, which is kind of disturbing.
That was very fast, though.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the Na'Vi games were faster.
Yeah, I was going to say it wasn't the shortest. It's, 16 minutes, I think it took Na'Vi to prompt a GG out of Virtus Pro in that crazy all mid-game oriented game. But, yeah, I mean, CTY is one of those guys that I'm beginning to root for just because when he's on, and you and I have seen it, he can be an absolute monster playing against the best in the world. He just seems like he really needs more experience and maybe a little bit of guidance. Like you said, his play on Magnus, even if he just had someone in his ear saying something like, hey, go for the RP.
He's the only hero in the game that's involved in 0 kills. Only hero.
Wow, he really was, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That's rare to see even in these short games. Like, usually everyone's got at least an assist with that. This time only 3, so just never in a position, like you said, it wasn't like his Arcane Blink came out super late. He just didn't. He just did next to nothing with it.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of my big concerns prior to the game. Like, he gets items, but he doesn't do anything with it, right? Like, it's like Moo had a mech and brown boots, and he just did so much more. Like 4-0. I mean, granted, his team was owning, but he did well in mid. He can get a CS. That's not the problem. It's just like he just has to do something. Be proactive. You're a 2-player. Is your space creator. He did not create space for anything.
Couldn't agree more. 18 minutes, 34 seconds, all the time it took for TongFu to notch Game 1 win. Going to look to make it 2 in a row as they look ahead to the second game of this series and what could be our final game of the evening. 20-5, the final kill score. I'm your host here at AC Chambers. Thanks for sticking with us, guys. We're reaching the home stretch. I am pounding my last can of Monster Energy. Again, this stuff is legit. The Zero Ultra, the white cans. It's even got texture. If you see one of these in the stores, you definitely should pick it up. But anyway, not far out, most likely. If Rising Stars isn't able to completely turn around their performance starting right now, probably going to be done in short order. So we'll find out if they're up to the task and if TongFu is going to be able to finish on a win or if Rising Stars can finally find that elusive victory they've been looking for throughout the entire Eastern Division schedule we had them slated to play. I'm AC, that's Merlini. We'll be back. Game number 2 of this best of 3 here on the HyperX D2L. Stick with us.